The crossover with Coach TM, week 14. Let's get your mind right. Vision is the art of seeing things invisible. Let's get into it. Week 14, we are now into April. And what does that mean? That means that we have just finished March Madness. So now, we have an all-blue Final Four. If you don't know what that means that in the Final Four, we had Villanova, we had Kansas, we had North Carolina, and we had Duke. Undoubtedly, the best game of the Final Four was the all-time classic matchup, rivalry, North Carolina and Duke. And man, did they battle. I'm talking haymakers. But in the end, it was not to be for Coach K. Coach K, in the final game of his career, bows out in the Final Four as North Carolina gets the best of Duke by 4 points in the end, which set up an interesting matchup of also longtime powerhouses in the NCAA. You had North Carolina going up against Kansas. And believe me, they also produced one shining moment as North Carolina built an early big lead, came out on fire. But it appears they just got worn down in the end. Kansas came back, sealed the victory, and it was actually the Kansas Jayhawks with the one shining moment for this year, taking home the championship. Next up, we haven't talked about it this year, but where there's smoke, there's fire. 2 words, Tiger Woo, Tiger Woo. That's right, Tiger Woods. It says he is going to play in the Masters. What does that mean? That means that everybody wants to see what's going to happen. They say this was the largest turnout of fans for a practice round in recent memory. That means in years. Duh, that's what Tiger Woods does. Wherever Tiger Woods appears, especially now after his injury and him coming back and him saying that he is going to play, everybody wants to see that. So that's not a surprise. But let's see what he does. Realistically, he's not expected to win. I would just really enjoy seeing him within striking distance of the leaders going into the final day. So you know what that would mean? Sunday morning, he wakes up, he puts on that red polo, gets blood in his eyes, and goes to work. But let's see if it comes down to that. In NBA news, some people are looking at this as a sigh of relief. Some people are looking at this as sad, but your Los Angeles Lakers are officially eliminated from the playoffs and from the play-in tournament. I said to friends and family about 2 weeks ago, the Lakers aren't going to make the playoffs. One thing that people still don't really understand is there's 2 huge factors in every sport, every season. One is injuries. The second is momentum. Like we can go back to college basketball, just had the Final Four. Injury and momentum. When it came to the final game, North Carolina was beaten down from their war with Duke, so they started to have injuries that cost them in the end. Kansas got the momentum in the second half. They carried them past North Carolina. Now you take the Lakers. The Lakers have been battling injuries since the word go. Since the day that Russell Westbrook signed with the Lakers, not saying it's his fault, not at all, but the Lakers have been battling injuries since day one. And now you're going to tell me that AD, Anthony Davis, who's just coming off of an injury, and now the Iron Man, and no, I'm not talking about AC Green, but the modern day Iron Man, LeBron James, who twisted his ankle really bad, who's hurt, is not playing. Injuries have crept back in. And the Lakers' momentum is going the opposite direction, where I don't even know the number because I haven't looked it up, but they've lost like their last 15 of 17 games, somewhere around there. There's no momentum there. And when you're coming down to the playoff, to getting into the playoffs, the last stretch of the regular season, that's the wrong side of momentum. And so now they are officially eliminated. Last thing I'm going to talk about. We've been talking about free agency all along because it's been huge. The biggest march in NFL free agent history. Now we're going into April. It has really slowed down. Like I said last week, there's just a couple moves that we're waiting to see. But I just want to say one name. Colin Kaepernick. How does he fit into all of this? I have a question for you out there, and I want you to hit me up in the chat. Let me know what you think. All right? And I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out because that's what Coach TM does. If you've been following Coach TM for a while, you know Coach TM gives shout outs. I want to shout out my boy Charles Wheels because he's jumped in the comments. He has mentioned things, asked questions, and it's great. It's great to have that banter. And the other one I want to shout out is my boy Vito. You know who you are in the bar row. Vito. Vito has also jumped in the comments, said a few things, mentioned some things that he sees or he's interested in. And it's cool because it's good to get that interaction with you out there. So now, throw it down in the comments. Let me know, will Colin Kaepernick be on a team this football season? I'm not saying will he be there the first day of camp. I'm not saying will he be there by OTAs or training camp or the first day of the season or after free agency. Just at some point this season, will Colin Kaepernick be on an NFL roster? Let me know what you think. With that said, Coach TM is out. That's all I got for you this week. You guys have a great April. No April Fools here. Just lots of April information. With that said, peace in.